welcome. This is Battles in the East. Bagration stopped. Decision games. um, and we're moving into turn 2 of the game here. And I'm going to kind of do a summary of at least the Soviet portion of it in this video, hopefully not too long. Quick recap. Main attacks are occurring down here and down here. And the 2nd Tank Army actually has moved into a position to separate mainly the 4th SS Panzer Corps from what I'll call now the main German lines here on the Vistula and prevent them from coming over here and reinforcing. Don't know if that's a good strategy, but we'll find out as the game goes on. Soviets win by getting victory points, which I've marked, and putting units across the Vistula and the Nara up here in the north by the end of game turn 10. Limiting factor is supply. Seen in previous videos, general supply, attack supply. Right now, a good chunk of the Soviets are in attack supply. 69th, 8th Guard. The Poles are in general supply, which kind of doesn't give them as strong an attack factor, no overruns. This one also, 47th, is in attack supply. And the 2nd Tank, although I'm using the 2nd Tank mainly as a blocking force, and then these 3 armies along the front here are in general supply. And again, like my point, number of strategies. These guys, these now 2 armies are trying to drive here. That's a sudden death victory, although the last turn they didn't have much luck. The first turn, Poles are basically inserting themselves here. 2nd Tank Army, like I said, is kind of acting as the anvil against the hammer here. And these guys are just slowly moving across. So as we begin the turn, we do the supply phase. Right now, the only unit out of supply is over here. This Jaeger, 5th Jaeger Regiment, 75th. That's pretty much out of supply. But now it's time for Soviet strategy. Now in basic terms, I think these guys are going to keep on pushing. 2nd Tank's going to keep on blocking, but maybe be leveraged in some attacks here and some attacks here. And the question is, there's only 10 turns. Right now, even killing all these units here don't get victory points, but it does prevent less units to defend over here. So it's interesting. Again, the sudden victory is if you can take this place, you could somehow take all 4 hexes of Warsaw. Good luck fighting in a city. And I believe this is the other sudden victory they could go for. But for now, for the first half of the game, I think the strategy is let's see if we can trap these guys, make some progress down here, and keep the 2nd Tank Army intact. Okay, so that said, let's do the Soviet initial move. Be right back. All right, I've done the move here offline, and this is pretty static, but the Poles are trying to flood in here because next German turn coming up here, they can move this Panzer Division. So we're using the Polish, looks like mech units to block the road, or trap this guy. And then potentially we're in a position to do some attacks down along here, continue trying to push against this. The Hungarians are going away soon. And then later the 39th Panzer HQ goes away. So we'll see if they make any progress. You know, begs the question, maybe should have just screened this and moved one of the armies up here to potentially come behind Warsaw, envelope it, and maybe use that as a victory condition. But that's for another game. Down here, though, down here, this army is in a position right now to totally trap and hopefully eliminate these units. And then shut the door up here and trap the rest of the 4th SS and units of the 2nd Army. I believe that's 2nd Army, right? Yeah, 2nd Army. So they're all set up for attacks here. Looks like we've got some attacks going on here, and then we'll have standard attacks along here. An army and general supply can only attack one place with their units, so each of these will get their single attack at half attack strength. and we'll see how it succeeds. But the big event is hopefully reducing this and totally sealing this off. But can they do it fast enough so that then they can later come over here and go after those victory points? So that seems to be it. We got the second tank, along with some attacks here blocking. And again, we'll see how the attacks go down here and up here too. So that's the Soviet initial move. The big thing is actually the pocketing of the 4th SS Panzer Corps here. So with that said, I'll pause again, and we'll come back and see how those combat results turned out. All right, we are back. We'll move from the bottom of the map here. Model helped this battle, so again, it's stuck. There was a 1 loss, I think, on each side. Let's see. They chose not to attack here. The odds weren't good. But they did attack here, and they were able to push across the river with the assistance of these guys. Still slow moving. But they are seeming to shut the door over here. They had some success pushing here, and these units have moved into position to potentially block the 39th Panzer Corps units, or specifically Horman Göring, from coming down here and at least trying to take the pressure off here. And yeah, I don't know how viable getting to here is by the end of the game, but that could be a sudden death victory. Big news is up here with 4th SS. They were able to do it because they had them surrounded and these units couldn't retreat, and then leveraging some combat shifts for divisional integrity, and then the headquarters units, they were actually able to destroy all the units in this initial small pocket. And then they used this army here that's in general supply to kind of close the door better here on the rest of 4th SS Panzer and units of the 2nd Army. So hopefully these units next turn they'll be able to eliminate them, because right now these units out of supply, you can't attack, half movement, but you can't even move because there's no moving from Ezok to Ezok. And friendly units don't negate that. So these units appear to be well and good trapped. This may have been a bit risky. They pushed these units across. They attacked them, and then they got a good result. This guy got reduced and had to retreat too, and they were able to push across the river. We'll see if that stays. And then the attacks up here, they were pretty much moving in 1 hex. This is moving rather slow. And if I look at, now we've got their mech move, which I'll show you in a second. It's not terribly substantial, but just looking at the Germans here, if they can get a good bulk of 2nd Army back over here in time to screen the Nara and the Vistula. As we've seen down here, attacking across a major river is rather challenging, especially if you're not behind them. But yeah, getting that initial cross, that's a 3 left shift. So that's kind of challenging. So I don't see that happening. And now the 39th Panzer comes into play. So we'll see what happens there. But let's go ahead and end the Soviet turn and show their mech move here. So I'll be right back. All right, Soviet mech move. Well, Poles in general supply, they're quartered and they don't have enough movement points, so they're staying there. These 2 independent tank brigades, though, they are assigned to 47th, but they can be assigned to anybody after this. I may assign them over here. They're at least shifting over here in case 39th Panzer does something this way, or they can be used anywhere in here, maybe pushing up here for the victory point hexes. These units are still well and good trapped. I don't see a German counterattack getting anywhere near here. So this group is in trouble. Can't move from Zok to Zok, out of supply, can't attack. I think it's just a matter of how long is it going to take the Soviets to reduce these guys, free up these units in time to assist, I guess, in phase 2, I guess, of going for the victory points. And then up here, yeah, we didn't do much movement here. Didn't do much here. Yeah, we just did some small mech moves. So that ends the Soviet turn 2, making no progress really. Well, maybe up here in the north they're making progress. But the 39th Panzer could come down and relieve, or they could come out here. Maybe mess with cutting off the second tank army, but these guys are the problem. I don't know how Germans are gonna save these guys. And then they need to extricate themselves from here, and these Volksgrenadier units are slow. And I don't necessarily foresee, now they got that redeployment role, and you can redeploy a whole German infantry division, and they come back 2 turns later. Actually, in hindsight, since these guys can't move fast enough, maybe this is a good candidate for that rule, while these guys just continue moving here. But if the Germans can get enough strength, and maybe along here, and or along here, okay, they can win. The Soviets need to get across the Nara and the Vistula. Maybe the Germans can get some forces here to leverage the Bug River initially. But again, the Soviets are purposely putting German units in zone of control, so their ability to regular move and get disengaged is impaired. So we'll see how that plays out. Anyway, so that's the Soviet turn 2. Appreciate any feedback. If previous ones I've deep dived the rules, I think I've covered the rules enough now that I can just do it this way, poke in and show you everything as it changes. Yeah, this is an interesting game. I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, it's going to win, and I'm kind of learning it as go along. But it's a nice, rich. I wouldn't say complex per se, but enough levers and stuff to make you think, um, and figure out, ways to defeat the enemy, throwing some stuff into it. So, and again, even from the beginning, you saw I've discussed the Russians could have been doing a totally different strategy. Could have ignored this river and shifted one army up here to work with the second tank, maybe push through here and get behind Warsaw. But then, the 4th SS is going to come right across these plains. So, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for listening. And if this format works good, that's great. Let me know. If you'd like me to go back to deep dive on rules. Otherwise, next up will be the German turn 2 response to the Soviets. So, see you at the next one.